Man with No Name here. We're back in action on the tutorial series, going through the tutorials lined out by the devs for the Gates of Hell game. Today we're going to be on reinforcements. Now, I do kind of break down these videos a little bit more detail than the devs do in the videos. So if for any point you do get, more information out of it, great. If not, then is what it is. Let's get into this. Looks like we're picking back up from where we left off with
Soldaten, welcome back to the front line. Today you will learn advanced strategies, like requesting reinforcements from HQ and using support weaponry like the artillery signaler.
Interesting. So, in different campaign missions, you will have the option to get reinforcements based on points, which is down here, your manpower availability. Sometimes it regenerates, and then sometimes it only has a limited amount, so you have to use it sparingly. As you can see here, you can get a rifle squad, air bombing run, MG34, 8cm, or a tank. These cost manpower points. So like I said, just be mindful of what you spend and take note of what you're spending money on. If it replenishes, cool. If it doesn't, then you need to know that as well. There you go.
First, call in a rifle squad. Once they arrive, order them into the trenches.
So they are going to come off map, probably back here to the south. Here they come. They start out green, but then they'll turn blue to where you can control them. Now, forming a squad, typically you can right click and then position the units how far or close together as you want. People have asked me in the past how I do that. That is how you do it. Also, you can position them based on where they're at. The options are, now clicking and hold will separate units, giving them a bunch of spacing, or you can have them in a linear line depending on what kind of environment they are in. Sometimes together is more beneficial. Sometimes it is not.
Reinforcements are here.
Jawohl.
In this case, we have a pretty good lineup down here, so we're probably going to put these guys here. Now, one thing to note on this infantry platoon, you have this platoon here. You have an individual, these two individuals here. Now, if you do look here, you hover over them, riflemen, it will show what they are. Rifleman, MG assist, your MG operator, and the MG operator will have these drum fed, and then they also have boxes of ammunition depending on the machine gun type, and or here's your belt fed ammunition. Now, also, you will have kind of a mixture of uniforms, which isn't a super big thing that I want to get into, but you'll have variations of sleeve rolls to long sleeves, and then you also have stances, and then you also have positioning of units. They've added this in the most recent update. Some hold their guns normal, some hold their guns down their side, some sway while they're running. It's a pretty cool feature. Other way here, when they're running, they're all kind of doing the same thing. Almost. But, anyway, so what we want to do is we'll go ahead and fill in the void right here. There's not much more other than the inventory swapping, but we did cover that in the inventory, or for the infantry portion.
Excellent.
So we won't worry
New
about
units
that.
are available to reinforce your defenses. Now, call in a MG34, a 8cm mortar, and a 2-centimeter flak.
Alright.
Place them on the front line to defend our HQ.
Just go
When
ahead
you
and
hover
bring
your
'em in.
cursor over each reinforcement button, you will see additional information.
Don't
Currently, the manpower points available to you are limited, but there is enough for you to call in the required units. Depending on the situation, additional
Put him
points may be
here.
awarded for completing objectives.
Order. can go
Reinforcements have arrived.
here. I'll put an MG right there. Share the love a little bit. Now with the mortar, I don't know if I'll have to bring it up. Typically I have the mortar further back, but if I do have to put it on the point, then what I'll do... Okay. Then with
Prepare
mortars,
your units to defend the front line.
we'll go
Our
ahead and build a
scouts provided an
sandbag.
estimated time before the enemy attack will arrive.
A new reinforcement option is unlocked. Skip preparation phase. It will allow you to skip the current preparation phase and
There's
begin
that.
the next
I'll build a
phase.
sandbag.
Often, it is the enemy attack.
Build a sandbag. There. And then, like they're saying, if for whatever reason, which I almost never find it an option to prepare defenses, but anyway, we're gonna cheat. I just saw this.
Hat hier jemand ein Bier dabei?
Let's see here. Can I go ahead and get another mortar? Yeah, there we go.
Ja.
And then we're gonna bring this supply truck over here.
Wo soll das Ding hin?
Reinforcements are here.
Now you gotta be careful with the supply truck because sometimes the pathing sucks. So now an option, what I like to do, is I look at the supply truck right here. I can call this my other additional preparations. Then we'll have double mortars, and then we'll just go ahead and skip for the sake of time. See what happens. Ready to go. So this guy's ready to go. We have a mortar. Now the green will signify the AI is over it. You'll find this a lot in the campaign missions. You'll only have control of a select amount of infantry. Rifleman over here. Does this actually have ammo? Let's see if it has ammo or not. Yep, it's actually utilizing ammo.
Good job. They are running away. Your next objective is to call in an artillery signaler.
Ooh, here it is. It's one of my favorite units. It's kind of my playing style in this game a little bit. The artillery signaler is pretty unique with their symbol, and stealth is pretty good option. They have a artillery radio, they have the signaling pistol, their flares, X, Y, and Z. Now in direct control, you'll sneak up to a location, you have to be about 60 meters away, shoot it. That does alert the AI that you've shot towards their direction. But within a pretty good radius, they will begin getting bombarded by either 10 to 17 or 21 even artillery pieces. It's a very good way to decimate a crowd, so to speak.
Nachladen! Wir brauchen hier vorne
So here comes my guy.
Crawl to approach the enemy outpost undetected. Then signal for an artillery bombardment by firing a flare with your flare pistol.
Alright. So you just have to kind of be careful when you're sneaking. Now, I'm not super concerned with the tactics of it just because of the invulnerability, so to speak, of my units. Now, when I start getting close, to prevent him from shooting or getting shot, I'll typically... I'll either direct control or I will crawl. Now, I've noticed in utilizing this in the past, two things. Trees will obstruct the flare, so you got to be mindful of that. And then the other thing is when you shoot prone opposed to shooting standing up, you don't get as much range, which in theory makes some sense. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and position myself to the road. Now, aiming first person, you don't get a good perspective of how far you can actually shoot. Like, I can aim it as high as I wanted, and it may not get my intended target. But for here, I'm using direct DC, hit direct center, and then I will go ahead and get away. And typically at this point, once my cover's blown, as you've seen, I just run away. And then I will submit him down into the trenches, where it's safe. Keep this guy alive. And you can see the bombardment.
Excellent work. Now, we must destroy the enemy and capture their HQ. You now have additional units and resources available to call in for reinforcements.
So we got this reinforcement patch here. It looks like this is actually
Airstrikes and artillery strikes are now available to be called in.
So what I want to do is I want to get a good supply
Your
of
orders
armor.
are to attack the enemy with both air and artillery strikes.
It looks like we're replenishing.
We've got intel that the Russians have a heavy tank at their HQ. An airstrike would be most effective to deal with that problem. Reinforcements have arrived.
So I want to go ahead and get another... I got an armored car here. It's just 2 centimeter. Now, one thing you'll run into with reinforcements like that is you'll get kind of stagnant, so you don't want that. So you just kind of, I know part of it is just being able to manage
Reinforcements are here.
Let's see here. I'm gonna do that. It could be an MG or it could be an AT gun. Knowing the Russian layout, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a AT gun. Now, you'll see what I'm talking about here. The reason I did the airplane is to feel free and give me look at what we got going on here. So we know where the tank's at, so we'll go ahead and call artillery on the tank. DS-39. Nice. I took out all 3 artillery, or AT pieces there. So we don't want this tank to be by himself, so we'll go ahead and piece him up. So we'll use this scout car as an armored car, and then we'll also have this infantry to go ahead and kind of push up the Now this would be an option to do that, spread out the love a little bit. We also have another tank.
Reinforcements are here.
On what to do with that. Probably go ahead and get another rifle squad, and then we got another artillery strike coming here in just a minute. Now, with saying all that, we do have this reserves here that we could push, but you start getting into that slinky effect with non-mobile and mobile troops. But since we have a, let's just say we'll have a good, we'll have a pretty good setup here in just a second. Make sure they got AT in. Make sure he's got AT. Probably just push up the road here. Got a good strafing going on. Probably just put him dead center again. We have our infantry moving up. Go ahead and move him in. I'm going to lock him into place. They're being very generous. That would have decimated. We'll just do that. And then from here, we can kind of just bring up our tanks. Oh, we actually, we're going to repair that real quick. I didn't realize that they had taken out part of our. Where's my infantry at? Here it is. So you see the field of view that I'm talking about here now. Let's go ahead and bring in my artillery signaler, and then we will essentially let him finish out the job. Sounds like we got that KV we've taken out, and then we'll finish it up with some supply or some infantry. Everything here, this would be like a fallback point if for whatever reason more reinforcements come.
Reinforcements are here.
Get overwhelmed. I like to have a good perimeter set or line. I would say perimeter, but you know, we're only working with this much space, so I like to have a good perimeter line set. So in that way, if for whatever reason my advance falls and then their reinforcements counterattack starts heading this way, I have the ability to take care of whatever comes my way without losing too many forces. And then I always play him very secret squirrel. Anyway, guys, that in itself was a conclusion of the reinforcements. Really, again, the only time that you're gonna really see this bar and the manpower is either in multiplayer or on the campaign. Conquest works a little differently, but it's all the same into a certain aspect. You know, further taking this point, I got my tank support, so then I moved the infantry up, and then once the infantry got set, then I can move my tanks up, go ahead and move this guy up. If we had spare tankmen, I would resupply him before we move in, soften him up with artillery and go in. But was saying all that, guys, I hope you're enjoying this tutorial walkthrough series about everything, and when we come back, we'll have the trial by fire. That is going to be the mini micro campaign mission, but it's nothing crazy. But that was the initial tutorial mission, quote unquote, that you had before you actually started the Ostfront. But that's, you know, we've added this, so it is a nice addition to the game. But with saying that, guys, hope you're enjoying the content, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Enemy tank!